about, okay?
Let's talk
Outside
about
of that, I'm in a very good mood. Molly should be as well. I've been in studio all week long. We know that makes her happy, and that's what really, really matters most. The first steak is in the house. That's right.
Oh, Stephen A., your presence truly is a gift. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Take. Thank you for being with us. Damian Woody, Courtney Cronin, S.A. I'm Molly Karam.
You do got to say that like you mean it, though.
us.
You do got to say that like you mean it, okay? There's always a... She didn't sound that convincing to me, D. Courtney, how are you?
I'm great.
It's good to
Thank
see
you for having me.
Is he acting like that because of the suit he's wearing? Because I feel like
he's just like a lot and doing the most always.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like the suit is enhancing that right now.
I'm a lot.
You clean. I give you that. You clean. Yeah.
Thank you. You make it to
Would it be okay if I start the show?
Yeah.
I have permission? Okay, awesome. Thank you. We are 4 weeks until the NFL season kicks off. Preseason starts tonight. Joe Burrow will be in action against the Eagles, hoping to get his squad off to a faster start than normal. The Bengals won their final 5 games of the season a year ago, but fell short of making the playoffs for the second year in a row. In 6 seasons under Zach Taylor, the Bengals have gone 1-11 in the first 2 weeks of the season. Cincy will start the year on the road in Cleveland against the Browns before hosting the Jaguars for their home opener. That's in week 2. Meanwhile, the veteran Aaron Rodgers is also open to playing in the preseason opener with his new team when the Steelers face the Jaguars this Saturday. Rodgers says he and Tomlin will have that conversation. Okay, Mr. Smith, who needs to get off to a faster start? Is it Joe Burrow and those Bengals or Aaron Rodgers and your Steelers?
I'm going to say it's Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers simply because there's so many question marks, so much trepidation about them being up on the offensive side of the ball. With T.J. Watt there, we believe in them. We believe what they bring to the table defensively. Offensively is the question mark right now because of him, because of how he's looked the last couple of years or so, or how he's looked, in the last year of Green Bay. I'm not going to hold the first year in the New York Jets against him. He's got injured on the 4th play of the game towards Achilles, so we know that. But bottom line is that his last couple of years in Green Bay, playoff falters, and then last year with the New York Jets, despite 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, nearly 4,000 yards passing, it was still considered an underachieving year for him. So with him being plus 40, 41 years of age and everybody asking these questions about him, I would say it needs to be him. The only thing that I want to say about Joe Burrow is this. That 1-11 number is real. And I am one, just in case you didn't see me saying this, Courtney, I know this man has seen me saying this. I think there needs to be an investigation into the coaching staff of the Cincinnati Bengals. What the hell are you doing in the offseason and during the preseason that you can't start out the first couple of weeks of a season winning a game with Joe Burrow as your quarterback, with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins as your wideouts over these last several years? 1-11? 0-3 last year. I'm just looking at them. 0-2 in 5 of the 6 seasons under head coach. That's how they've started. Why? Why is it that you don't start playing football until mid-September, when training camp starts in July, when you got OTAs before that? What the hell is going on in Cincinnati that consistently, despite this talent and this great quarterback, you can't win games to start off the season? They better start off. But I'm looking at them and I'm looking at how explosive we expect their offense to be, and I'd say the answer to this question, despite what I just said about Cincinnati, still has to be Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, the investigation you're talking about is going to happen if they start out 0-2, because those calls for Zach Taylor's job, that is naturally what the conversation will devolve into. And I think that they've started to do some sort of soul searching, because back in the spring, it was Jamar Chase who had this fun moment with reporters. He grabbed somebody's notebook and started asking questions. Well, why do you guys think we start out slow? Might we need to play in the preseason? And I know that starters don't usually clamor to do that, but you got to give Cincinnati some credit for trying to do something a little different than they've done in years past. If you don't beat Cleveland, if you don't beat Jacksonville, 0-2, going on the road, Denver, Minnesota, then you've got Green Bay and Detroit in the next 2 games after that, your season's over at that point. They can't afford to waste another career year from Joe Burrow, another career year from Jamar Chase. T. Higgins had a career high in touchdowns. You have back-to-back 17.5 sack seasons from Trey Hendrickson. If things are going to be different, why not start making it different now in the preseason? Why not start the approach differently? Because clearly whatever they're doing the last couple of years since 2022 isn't working. Injuries, obviously, a factor in there with Burrow and dealing with the COVID stuff, and then dealing with some of the injuries he's had in the preseason. Jamar Chase not being in camp for a lot of last year while he was waiting the new contract. All of that is null and void. So if you start out 0-2 now, if you start out 0-3 and it gets real bad, then they're looking at the coaching staff saying, well, something's got to change because we've been doing the same thing year after year after year, and it's not working for us.
Yeah, and I think you hinted towards why I lean towards Joe Burrow is because, think about this, every year since Joe Burrow's been in the league, there's always been something.
Okay.
He's had the knee, okay? He's had the calf injury. He's had the appendix. He's had some type of injury or medical situation that's kind of hindered him throughout training camp. That is not the case this year. He's come in, he's fully healthy. All of his guys, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they're not dealing with contractual things. They're not injured. Everyone is fully locked in and ready to go. Now, we know what the situation is with Trey Henderson. They got a new defensive coordinator in Al Golden. The Cincinnati Bengals, particularly Joe Burrow and that offense, need to hit the ground running because we don't know what this defense is going to be like. In Cincinnati, it's probably going to be shootouts in Cincinnati because their defense, quite honestly, has been atrocious. They're going to need to be high-powered. And if you're Cincinnati, those first two games are very winnable games. You cannot, again, you stated the record, 1-11. You cannot start the season losing two winnable games early on if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow.
Well, listen, here's the numbers right here, right? Let's go by the numbers because Joe Burrow is 18-5 combined in the month of December and January. He's 8-2 in the month of January, including 5-2 in the postseason. This is what we know about Joe Burrow. This is what he brings to the table. But the greatness of Joe Burrow, the greatness of Jamar Chase, no question there's a debate between him and Justin Jefferson as to who's the best wide receiver in football. Okay, we know what this brother brings to the table. The Cincinnati Bengals, since Joe Burrow arrived, is 7-10-1 in the month of September. 3 games under 500. 10-10 in the month of October. So even though we brought up the first 2 weeks, you can make a legitimate argument because of the offensive firepower that they've had. You haven't really shown up for the first 2 months as a coaching staff. What the hell are you doing? I'm dead serious about this. Football is your job. With the players, what are we talking about? Trying to talk about keeping yourself in peak condition, working on your skill set, doing what you can to elevate your quality of play, et cetera, et cetera. What the hell are you doing as coaches? I'm looking at Zach Taylor, the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm looking at his coaching staff. What the hell are you doing? If I'm the owner, I want to know what's going on in April, May, June, prior to training camp in July. What are you doing that we can't win games with the talent that we have in a month of September and October? We're climbing uphill. We won 5 games straight to end the season last year and still missed the playoffs.
Hey, you know what?
Missed the playoffs.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Stephen A. Remember last year, week 1, they lost a terrible home game to the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
That one game cost them in week 18. They won, but they were on the outside looking in because of that week 1 loss against the New England Patriots. Yeah. That's why it's so important for Joe Burrow and company to hit the ground running this year.
That starts to happen. But I'm just saying, when you've been there for 6 years, and that's what happens every year, it's like, damn.
And you're not going to be playing in your prime forever. You're wasting MVP-level seasons from guys.
It's costing you down the stretch. Yeah. Absolutely. I want to transition here, guys. Some other news to get into. So Shedeur Sanders has to work his way up the depth chart, but he will start in the Browns preseason opener tomorrow against the Panthers. Sanders has gotten the fewest reps with the team starters so far at